Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering an everyman superhero movie from 1999, Mystery Men.
In order to generate more endorsement revenue, Champion City's resident superhero, Captain Amazing, arranges for the release of supervillain Casanova Frankenstein, only to be captured by him. The city's fate rests in the hands of 7 loser superheroes.
Like, why do they call him that?
And that's not our words, that's theirs. Blue Rajah, the Shoveler, the Bowler, Spleen, Invisible Boy, the Sphinx, and the perpetually-angry Mr. Furious.
Now, before we get into this slideshow of craziness superhero movie, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Yes. Before we start, I have to say this movie ended up being so much fun.
Right.
Yes.
And this was made 20 years ago, and yet it had lots of things that you see in superhero movies now or animation and stuff. I think that was hilarious. Mm-hmm. One thing really stuck out, and I remember people talking about on Twitter, was that Captain Amazing has a bunch of endorsements from real life advertisers like Pepsi and stuff on his uniform, which was kind of like what Tiger and Bunny did with all of the superheroes having logos of real life companies in the real world on their outfits.
And in case you are familiar with Mystery Men, some really big stars during that time as well as still now were in it. You have Ben Stiller, Hank Azaria, Janine Garofalo, William Macy, Kel Mitchell from
Kel Mitchell. Oh yeah. Wait, is that Good Burger, right?
Yes, but Kenan and Kel. I was giving you a chance to say.
Okay.
Kenan and Kel. Yes. Well, Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. May I take your order? Paul Rubens.
Jeffrey Rush, Eddie Izzard,
Greg Kinnear,
so a whole lot of people.
Yes, I mean it was just like a cavalcade of stars.
Right. And when we saw it, we really weren't sure what to expect. We had only heard about this movie on Twitter, saying that was the real live action Tiger and Bunny movie, when they had something about it being made into a movie. And people have been talking about you making live action adaptations. So we finally saw this movie show up to watch very recently. So we ended up seeing it, and it was one half parody, one half satire, one half spoof, and I know, one half. That's okay. Think about the characters that one half of a half would fit, because the characters were all insane. And every time the villains would kick their asses, every time they would have to fight.
It was really fun, and I think what I really, really loved about it was there were everyman who wanted to be like their favorite superheroes. Of course, they're not based in the reality of the superheroes we know from DC and Marvel, but they had their own superheroes that existed at that time. And another thing I really liked about it is that most of these actors, barring Ben Stiller and Greg Kinnear, were known more for doing dramatic acting, like William Macy. Hank Azaria is known from doing voices on The Simpsons, but he'd also done some other serious roles, except for Spartacus, I think that was his name, in The Birdcage. And Janine Garofalo, if you've known her, she was, for a time, she was on MTV and some other things. Eddie Izzard, Jeffrey Rush. These were people who normally you wouldn't even envision them or seeing them doing this type of roles. Ben Stiller, this is his forte.
Right.
So that's another thing that made it really fun, because as you mentioned, 20, 21 years later, all of them are stars, and you've seen their body of work, but they all did this movie, and it's like a little time capsule of pure superhero paradoxical fun.
Right. And each hero has their own little issue, whether they were a big time superhero or like I said, an everyman superhero. Captain Amazing kind of like money a lot, so he deliberately, just so he can keep getting the money, because he either killed off or put away all the villains, he had to go, he pretended to be like a Clark Kent, and it said, there's no way that's the same person. He's got glasses. Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses, and that was why they no one recognized him, and he let this insane criminal go illegally.
Casanova Frankenstein.
Right, so he could fight him, and they can keep getting paid to take out villains. And then you have Ben Stiller said the furious.
Yeah.
Yeah, furious. And the thing about him was that he kept saying that you don't want to see me angry. You don't want to see me angry. So he had to keep his temper down, or else he would explode or something. His superpower, he would be pissed like Bakugo. But then when you see doing it, he's like, you just seem like you're ranting. It doesn't seem like exploding until he has steam coming out and he starts wailing on people. And then
he had Janine Garofalo, who was the bowler, and her dad was the bowler previously, and he got killed in the line of action. And yes, literally, she took a bowling ball and took people down.
Right.
And she was this really sarcastic. She had this wry, sarcastic way of speaking, and she could not get along with Ben Stiller's character. They were always like,
and then they had Invisible Boy, who couldn't be invisible unless no one noticed him. And it's like, what?
And you thought he was like full of crap. And then you actually saw it work when they quit looking at him. Of course, we, the audience, saw him literally just his clothes fall off and he disappeared.
Right, that was hilarious. Like, oh, it works.
He really does have power.
And then they had the Spleen. He basically has accuracy farting.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. I mean, he can. And then, like, I don't know, quills come out or what, and when he targets, and then people get knocked out. I don't know how on earth, what on earth was that?
And this was actually a superhero befitting of the Pee Wee Herman actor. It just fit. It just absolutely fit.
And then it was the shoveler. His issue was that pretty much his wife didn't take him seriously as a superhero anymore because he wasn't making money. He really wasn't doing that well because barely people knew who he and most of his friends were. It wasn't Captain Amazing.
And his wife is Jennifer Lewis, and you know her from being on Blackish and a lot of other comedic roles. And she was always, well, I don't know. I won't say she badmouthed him. She was like the wife on The Incredibles. Frozen's wife. That was the attitude
like Honey.
She had.
Yeah,
she was like Honey. And that's the attitude she had with, well, if you do this, we're going to leave. Well, if you do this, I'm going to leave. Or if you do this. And finally, he called her bluff because he really wanted to save these people at the end. He's like, well, if you do, I still love you, and blah, blah, blah. And then he walked out the door, and she finally calmed down. Mm-hmm. And it was so hilarious. He finally, like, got through to her. Mm-hmm. But the dynamic of his home life is incredibly funny. Just as funny as him on his own, so that was really a good match. Right.
And then lastly you got Blue Rajah. And then it's a white, and then Josie always says, how come you have a turban but you have an English accent? Well, if you do your history, the Turbans were actually part of the English dynasty until so and so happened. It's like he had to go through this whole spiel to explain his outfit, and he pretended to have an accent. He was like he was American,
and he lived with his mom.
Right.
So he was the stereotypes comic book hero.
Right.
He lived at home with his mom, but his mom supported him, which was actually fantastic. Because usually you have the parents, get out, you're lazy, you're going to do nothing. But she supported him and she was proud of him when she found out he was being a superhero.
And his powers, he could move silverware.
Hey, can you?
Silverware. Not spoons. Not just spoons, but he had to have fine silverware. And then he could move that. It was like fake ones he couldn't move. Like, well, you gotta be really specific. He always has silverware on hand. He throws forks, knives, and spoons with his mind.
The ultimate moment of support is when his mom went and got her best silverware out and gave it to him to save the day.
That was hilarious.
And there's one more, the Sphinx.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When he had the outfit, he was like a mentor, right? He was like the mentor. But when you look at his costume, he looked like Dark Helmet. On Spaceballs. Like, you're the mentor, right? And he wasn't telling too much. I mean, they got better to some extent, but it's like, are you helping? Because they still got issues.
Casanova Frankenstein, of course, is the arch enemy. He's the villain. And you hear his name and you start laughing until you get in the movie and find out this guy really is psychotic. And he's not a joke. He's the only serious part of this movie.
Right. Oh man, yeah, because you're expecting like something else entirely, like him looking weird or like Frankenstein.
Well, he did look weird.
Well, yeah, but you were expecting like Frankenstein. Maybe he was green and giant.
Fireback.
Yeah, something like that. But he was actually intelligent. That was just the villain name he had.
But this is a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. movie. It is brilliant in its satire and the lines and the characters themselves and the acting of the actors.
Right.
Okay,
Oh yeah, glad you said that because Furious never made any sense when he spoke. He would say things that didn't make any sense.
Yes, but it was really fantastic and true to Ben Stiller and what he's delivered in the movies that he made in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
This was just truly a Ben Stiller movie. It was the first, I think, of him making those type of movies like he did Dodgeball and all these other movies. But this movie is fantastic. If you have seen it, let us know if you have a favorite mystery man or woman in the comments below. If you haven't seen it and you just want to have a laugh and just watch a great movie that just will have you laugh from the beginning to end, and it still has those superhero values tied up within it, believe it or not it does, then give it a watch and let us know what you think in the comments below as well.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on Paws videos and World of Paws podcast.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace. And I'm going to turn invisible because you're not looking at me.
Flashing lights, trying to walk around, man. Who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you.